Ladies, have you ever felt like, no matter how much effort you put into a man, he just doesn't seem to crave you the way you crave him? You text first, you make plans, you give him all your attention, and yet he starts pulling away. It's frustrating, confusing, and honestly, it hurts. But what if I told you that doing less could actually make him want you more? Stepping back instead of chasing could be the secret ingredient to making him obsessed with you. I know what you're thinking, but if I don't show interest, won't he think I don't care? That's the trap too many women fall into. You believe that the more you give, the more he will appreciate you, but the truth is, men don't value what comes too easily. We live in a world where instant gratification has killed desire. If something is always available, it loses its magic. That's why the art of absence is so powerful. When a man experiences your presence but then feels your absence, his mind starts working against him. He starts wondering, where is she? Why isn't she texting me first? Is she thinking about me? And that, my love, is how attraction grows. This isn't about playing childish games. It's about understanding human psychology and attraction at its core. Once you master it, you will never have to chase a man again, because he will be the one chasing you. So, are you ready to dive deep into this? Are you ready to shift your entire approach to love and attraction? Because once you do, you'll never go back to the old ways. Stay with me till the end, because I'm revealing some of the most powerful secrets of attraction that will change the way men see you forever. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single part. Let's get into it. 1. Understands the power of absence. Imagine this. You have your favorite dessert right in front of you every single day. You never have to wait for it, never have to crave it because it's always there. At first it's amazing, but after a while you stop appreciating it. It's just there. Now picture this. That same dessert suddenly disappears. You can't have it whenever you want. You walk past the bakery, and it's no longer on the shelf. Suddenly, you realize how much you want it. You start thinking about it, longing for it, craving that familiar taste. This is how desire works. This is how absence creates value. Men work the same way. When you're always available, always reaching out, always present, he never gets the chance to experience what life feels like without you. And if he never experiences your absence, he never gets the opportunity to miss you. If he doesn't miss you, he doesn't crave you. And if he doesn't crave you, he won't chase you. The power of absence is rooted in something deep within human psychology. We value what we fear losing. If a man is constantly reassured of your presence, if he always knows you're available at the snap of his fingers, he has no reason to pursue you with intensity. He may like you, he may even care about you, but the fire of desire only ignites when he feels like you're slipping through his fingers. Most women make the mistake of thinking that showing a man constant love, attention and devotion will make him love them back with the same intensity. It makes sense in theory. If you give someone your heart, shouldn't they cherish it? But reality works differently. Think about the last time someone was overly available to you. Maybe it was a friend who always texted first, always tried to make plans, always wanted your attention. At first, it might have been flattering, but over time, did you start taking their presence for granted? Did you ever feel like their eagerness made you a little less excited to engage with them? That's exactly what happens in dating. Now, here's where many women panic. They hear this and think, so does that mean I should play games? Should I ignore him and pretend I don't care? The goal isn't to pretend, it's to truly embody the kind of confidence that makes you naturally less available. This is where Stoic principles of love come into play. Love Stoic is the art of detaching from outcomes in dating. It means you don't chase, you don't beg, you don't overgive. You live in your own world, on your own terms, and let men come to you. It's not about manipulation. It's about shifting your mindset so that you genuinely don't need to be constantly available. When you truly embrace this, your absence becomes natural, and that's when the magic happens. Let's break this down into real-life examples. Imagine you and a man have been texting regularly. He knows that every time he messages you, he gets an instant reply. He knows that whenever he asks you to meet up, you're available. There's no sense of urgency, no sense of excitement, because you're predictable. Now, let's shift the dynamic. Instead of responding immediately, you take your time. Instead of always being available for plans, you sometimes say, "I'd love to, but I already have something going on, maybe another time." Suddenly, he starts wondering, what is she doing? Why isn't she free? Is she seeing someone else? Is she losing interest? And that is exactly where you want him. That space, the unknown, the uncertainty, the slight feeling of loss. This creates a psychological trigger. His mind starts filling in the blanks. He starts thinking about you more, starts craving your presence because he's finally experiencing what it's like without you. Here's something most women don't realize. Men don't fall for you when they're with you. They fall for you in your absence. Think about the relationships you've been in. Were you ever with someone who seemed a little distant? Maybe he didn't text back right away. Maybe he wasn't always available. Maybe he left you wondering. And what did that do? It made you think about him even more. You analyzed every little thing he did, every message he sent or didn't send, and that constant state of wondering kept you hooked. The same thing works in reverse. When a man doesn't always have access to you, when he doesn't always know what you're doing, when he starts feeling the distance, he starts chasing. Now let's talk about the fear that comes with this. Many women worry, if I don't chase him, won't he just move on? That fear is natural, but it's also false. Because if a man's interest is so weak that he loses attraction the moment you stop chasing, he was never truly interested to begin with. A man who values you, who sees you as someone special, won't disappear just because you give him a little space. If anything, he will start working harder to secure your attention. This is where Stoicism in love becomes essential. Stoicism teaches emotional discipline, the ability to remain calm, composed, and unaffected by external forces. When you apply this to dating, you no longer react based on fear. Instead of panicking when he doesn't text back, you stay grounded. Instead of worrying when he doesn't initiate plans, you keep living your life. And in doing so, you naturally create the exact dynamic that makes him crave you. So what does this look like in practice? When he texts, don't feel the need to respond instantly. Give it time. Let him wait. When he asks to see you, don't always say yes right away. Sometimes be busy. Let him see that you have a life beyond him. When you're together, be present, be fun, be engaging. But afterward, let the silence build. Let him feel your absence. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about truly becoming someone who is not always available. Not because you're pretending, but because your life is genuinely full of other things that matter. And that's what makes you irresistible. Attraction isn't about constantly being in his face. It's about leaving just enough space for him to come to you. It's about letting him feel the absence so deeply that when he finally gets your attention again, it feels like a reward. That is the power of absence. That is the key to making him crave you. And once you master this, you'll never have to chase again. To create a life. He wants to be a part of picture this. A woman who is always waiting for his text, waiting for his call, waiting for him to decide whether or not he wants to see her. Her happiness revolves around his attention, and when he pulls away, Her world feels like it's falling apart. Now contrast that with a woman who is so busy living an exciting, fulfilling life that when he finally texts her, she doesn't even see it right away. Not because she's playing games, but because she's genuinely occupied with her own happiness. Which do you think a man will be more drawn to? The one who clings to him for validation, or the one who seems to be on a thrilling adventure that he desperately wants to join? This is one of the biggest mistakes women make. They center their lives around a man instead of making themselves the center of their own world. And the irony? Men are naturally more attracted to women who don't make them the main focus of their lives. When a man senses that you are living a rich, dynamic life, with or without him, he starts to feel that pull, that deep curiosity that makes him crave you. Think about it. What makes certain people magnetic? It's not just looks. It's energy, passion, a sense of purpose. You know when you meet someone who has a spark, someone who radiates confidence and excitement about their own life. That's what makes them irresistible, and that's exactly what draws a man in. Now, let's be real. How often do women put their lives on hold for a man? How many times have you skipped an event, a workout, or a hobby because you were waiting to hear from him? How often have you adjusted your schedule to fit into his plans instead of prioritizing your own? Men don't fall in love with women who chase them. They fall in love with women who are so engaged with their own lives that they make him work for a place in it. This is where you flip the script. Instead of waiting, become the woman who is too busy to wait. Develop your passions, build your career, travel, spend time with friends who inspire you, create a life so fulfilling that he feels lucky just to be a part of it. Because when you're out there thriving, something magical happens. He starts to see you differently. You're no longer someone who just wants him. You become someone he wants to win over. And let's not forget the most important part. When you're genuinely happy in your own life, you radiate confidence. And confidence is the ultimate magnet. Have you ever noticed that people who love their lives, who exude joy and passion, are naturally more attractive? It's because they aren't needy, they aren't grasping for attention. They're simply existing in their full power. That's the energy. Now I know what some of you are thinking, but if I get too busy, won't he think I'm not interested? Here's the truth. A man who is genuinely interested in you will rise to meet your energy. He will. Let's break it down into actionable steps. How do you actually create a life that makes a man crave you? Start by asking yourself, what truly excites me? What hobbies have you always wanted to try but never made time for? What skills do you want to develop? Focus on personal growth. Read books that inspire you. Hit the gym, not for him, but for you. Invest in self-care. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop needing a man's attention, that's exactly when he starts giving it to you. Because suddenly, he's not just dating a woman, he's trying to keep up with a woman who is thriving. He starts wondering what you're up to. He starts feeling like he has to work for your time. And that shift, that's when he starts craving you. There's a reason why men are often more drawn to women at the peak of their careers, or women who are deeply passionate about something. It's because those women have something that makes them glow from within. That glow, that's irresistible. It makes a man feel like he's winning something valuable when he earns your time. And let's be honest, ladies, life is too short to be sitting around waiting for a text. Your life should be so exciting, so full, so vibrant that when he finally does reach out, you're genuinely thinking, do I even have time for this right now? Because that energy, that's what makes him chase. So if you've ever felt like you've been overgiving, overwaiting, over-adjusting for a man, now is the time to take your power back. Not by playing games, not by pretending to be busy, but by actually building a life so fulfilling that he feels like the luckiest person in the world just to be a part of it. And now, let's put this into action. If this message resonated with you, if you're ready to step into your power and start attracting men effortlessly, then let me know in the comments. Type number 1 if this is speaking to your soul. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, the next part, it only gets better. Create a life he wants to be a part of. Picture this, a woman who is always waiting for his text, waiting for his call, waiting for him to decide whether or not he wants to see her. Her happiness revolves around his attention, and when he pulls away, her world feels like it's falling apart. Now contrast that with a woman who is so busy living an exciting, fulfilling life that when he finally texts her, she doesn't even see it right away. Not because she's playing games, but because she's genuinely occupied with her own happiness. Which do you think a man will be more drawn to? The one who clings to him for validation, or the one who seems to be on a thrilling adventure that he desperately wants to join? This is one of the biggest mistakes women make. They center their lives around a man instead of making themselves the center of their own world. And the irony? Men are naturally more attracted to women who don't make them the main focus of their lives. When a man senses that you are living a rich, dynamic life, with or without him, he starts to feel that pull, that deep curiosity that makes him crave you. Think about it. What makes certain people magnetic? It's not just looks, it's energy, passion, a sense of purpose. You know when you meet someone who has a spark, someone who radiates confidence and excitement about their own life. That's what makes them irresistible, and that's exactly what draws a man in. Now let's be real. How often do women put their lives on hold for a man? How many times have you skipped an event, a workout, or a hobby because you were waiting to hear from him? How often have you adjusted your schedule to fit into his plans instead of prioritizing your own? Men don't fall in love with women who chase them. They fall in love with women who are so engaged with their own lives that they make him work for a place in it. This is where you flip the script. Instead of waiting, become the woman who is too busy to wait. Develop your passions, build your career, travel, spend time with friends who inspire you. Create a life so fulfilling that he feels lucky just to be a part of it. Because when you're out there thriving, something magical happens. He starts to see you differently. You're no longer someone who just wants him. You become someone he wants to win over. And let's not forget the most important part. When you're genuinely happy in your own life, you radiate confidence. And confidence is the ultimate magnet. Have you ever noticed that people who love their lives, who exude joy and passion, are naturally more attractive? It's because they aren't needy. They aren't grasping for attention. They're simply existing in their full power. That's the energy. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but if I get too busy, won't he think I'm not interested? Here's the truth. A man who is genuinely interested in you will rise to meet your energy. He will. Let's break it down into actionable steps. How do you actually create a life that makes a man crave you? Start by asking yourself, what truly excites me? What hobbies have you always wanted to try but never made time for? What skills do you want to develop? Focus on personal growth. Read books that inspire you. Hit the gym, not for him, but for you. Invest in self-care. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop needing a man's attention, that's exactly when he starts giving it to you. Because suddenly, he's not just dating a woman, he's trying to keep up with a woman who is thriving. He starts wondering what you're up to. He starts feeling like he has to work for your time. And that shift, that's when he starts craving you. There's a reason why men are often more drawn to women at the peak of their careers, or women who are deeply passionate about something. It's because those women have something that makes them glow from within. That glow, that's irresistible. It makes a man feel like he's winning something valuable when he earns your time. And let's be honest, ladies, life is too short to be sitting around waiting for a text. Your life should be so exciting, so full, so vibrant, that when he finally does reach out, you're genuinely thinking, do I even have time for this right now? Because that energy, that's what makes him chase. So, if you've ever felt like you've been overgiving, overwaiting, over-adjusting for a man, now is the time to take your power back. Not by playing games, not by pretending to be busy, but by actually building a life so fulfilling that he feels like the luckiest person in the world just to be a part of it. And now, let's put this into action. If this message resonated with you, if you're ready to step into your power and start attracting men effortlessly, then let me know in the comments. Type number 1 if this is speaking to your soul. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, the next part, it only gets better. 3. Master the art of mystery. Have you ever noticed how the things we don't fully understand seem to pull us in the most? A book with a mysterious cover, a movie with an unexpected twist, a person who reveals just enough to keep us intrigued but never lays out all their cards at once. There's something deeply magnetic about the unknown. It sparks curiosity, fuels attraction, and keeps us wanting more. This same principle applies to relationships. The more predictable and easily accessible you are, the less a man has to think about you. But the moment you become a little unpredictable, a little mysterious, a little harder to figure out, his brain kicks into overdrive. Suddenly, you become a puzzle he can't stop trying to solve. Most women, especially when they really like a man, have the instinct to overshare, spilling their life story, their emotions, their thoughts, and their availability all at once. It comes from a good place, a desire for connection, a need for clarity, a belief that openness equals intimacy. But in reality, giving too much too soon can actually diminish attraction rather than build it. When a man feels like he already knows everything about you, there's no chase, no curiosity, no longing. The dynamic shifts from excitement to comfort, and while comfort has its place, it's not what fuels passion. Now, this doesn't mean you should be cold or distant. Mystery isn't about withholding warmth. It's about revealing yourself in layers. It's about giving just enough to keep him engaged, but never so much that he feels like he has you all figured out. Think of yourself as a captivating novel. Each page reveals something intriguing, but the best parts unfold gradually, keeping the reader hooked and desperate for the next chapter. Let's talk about how this plays out in real life. Imagine you're on a date. He asks you about your past relationships, and instead of diving into a full breakdown of your last heartbreak, you smile and say, "I've had some interesting experiences, but I've learned to only focus on the present." That response is confident, intriguing, and leaves him wanting to know more. If you were to tell him everything, every detail, every emotion, what's left for him to wonder about? Nothing. And once there's nothing left to discover, there's nothing left to chase. Another example, you're texting and he asks, "What are you up to?" Instead of the usual predictable response, try something playful like, "Something interesting." Guess. Instantly, his mind is engaged. He's thinking about you. He's curious. And that tiny element of uncertainty plants the seed of attraction. Men love a woman who keeps them on their toes. If he always knows what you're doing, what you're thinking, and how you feel about him at every moment, there's no intrigue. But if he senses that there's always something more to you, something he hasn't yet uncovered, he will naturally crave more of you. It's human psychology. We chase what we can't fully grasp. This is also why men tend to be more drawn to women who have lives outside of them. If you're always available, always responding, always laying out your thoughts and feelings without hesitation, there's no air of mystery. But if he senses that you have parts of your world that he hasn't yet accessed, whether it's your passions, your thoughts, or your emotions, he becomes more invested in trying to understand you. Mystery is also about energy. The way you look at him, the way you pause before answering a question, the way you sometimes let silence linger instead of filling every gap with words. Attraction isn't just built through what you say, it's built through what you leave unsaid. But here's the part most people don't realize. Mystery isn't just for the beginning of a relationship. It's what keeps attraction alive long-term. Even in long-term relationships, even in marriages, the couples who keep their passion burning are the ones who never fully lose their sense of individuality. They continue to grow, evolve, and remain slightly unpredictable, ensuring that their partner always feels like there's something new to discover. And here's the best part. When you embody this, when you stop handing yourself over too easily, you naturally shift into a position of power. Instead of worrying about whether he's losing interest, you'll start noticing that he's the one constantly seeking you out. Because when a man can't quite predict you, when he's always slightly unsure of where he stands with you, when he feels like there's still more of you to uncover, he will think about you non-stop. Think about the women who have left the biggest impact on your life, the ones who linger in your mind, who stand out from the rest. Were they the ones who gave you everything up front? Or were they the ones who had a presence, a depth, an energy that made you want to know more? This is the power of mystery. It's not about deception, it's about keeping your depth intact. It's about recognizing that you are not an open book to be read in one sitting. You are a story that unfolds over time, a presence that is felt even when you're not around, a woman who leaves a man wanting just a little bit more. And when you master this, that's when you become unforgettable. Fourth, don't always be available. Imagine this. A man texts you, "Hey, what are you up to?" And within seconds you reply, "Nothing much, just hanging out. What about you?" He asks if you want to meet up last minute and you say, "Of course, I'd love to." Every time he calls, you answer. Every time he suggests plans, you're free. At first he might appreciate the attention, but over time something shifts. The excitement fades. The urgency disappears. He stops putting in effort. Why? Because you've made yourself too available. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be busy when you're not. This is about understanding human nature and attraction. We desire what feels slightly out of reach. We value what we have to work for. If you're always accessible, always ready at a moment's notice, a man never has the opportunity to truly miss you. Think about it. What happens when a favorite song plays on the radio all the time? At first you love it, but after a while it becomes background noise. The same principle applies to relationships. If you're always there, you become predictable, and predictability kills desire. Now let's flip the scenario. Imagine a man texts you, and instead of responding immediately, you take your time, not because you're playing games, but because you're genuinely living your life. Maybe you're out with friends, maybe you're working on something exciting, or maybe you're simply taking time for yourself. He notices. Suddenly, you're not just another woman who is eagerly waiting for him. You're someone with a life of your own. Men want a woman who has her own priorities, her own goals, her own passions. A woman who is not waiting by the phone. A woman who, when she finally does respond, brings energy and excitement because she's been engaged in things that fulfill her. That is the woman who makes a man crave her. But here's where most women get nervous. They think, if I don't reply quickly, won't he think I'm not interested? The truth is, a man who is truly interested will pursue you. If he disappears just because you're not instantly available, that's not the kind of man you want anyway. A high-value man wants a high-value woman, someone who brings something to the table other than availability. This is why Stoicism in love is so powerful. When you embrace the mindset of a Love Stoic, you're not emotionally reactive. You're not desperate for validation. You don't panic if a man doesn't text back right away. Instead, you stay grounded in your own worth. You trust that if a connection is real, it doesn't require you to chase. And when you exude this energy, men notice. Let's talk about how this works in practical situations. A man asks you to meet up last minute. Instead of immediately saying yes, you take a moment. If you actually have time, you might agree, but sometimes you should say no, not as a game, but as a reminder to both him and yourself that your time is valuable. Next time, let him plan ahead. Let him put in effort. When a man realizes he can't just snap his fingers and have you, he starts seeing you as a prize to be won. Another example, you're always the one initiating conversations, always texting first, always making plans. Stop, pull back slightly and see what happens. If he values you, he'll notice your absence. He'll start wondering, why hasn't she texted me today? And before you know it, he's the one reaching out. Here's the truth. Men are wired to pursue. When you're always available, you remove the thrill of the chase. But when you create just a little space, that's when desire grows. That's when he starts feeling your absence, thinking about you, craving your attention. It's about balance. You don't need to be distant or cold. You simply need to make sure you're not overgiving. Keep some parts of your time, your energy, and your attention for yourself. Let him wonder. Let him wait. Let him put in the work. And if you truly want to embody this, start by prioritizing yourself. The next time you feel the urge to drop everything for a man, ask yourself, what do I want to do? What makes me happy? When you live for yourself first, you become naturally less available, and in turn, you become more desirable. Let's be honest, ladies. There's something incredibly powerful about being the woman a man wants to chase. When he realizes you're not just sitting around waiting for him to choose you, but instead you're living an exciting, full life, that's when he starts seeing you as someone he doesn't want to lose. If this resonates with you, let me know in the comments. Type number 1 if you're ready to step into your power. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe, because the next part is going to change the way you see attraction forever. 5. Let him experience missing you. There's something intoxicating about longing, the feeling of wanting something just beyond your reach, the excitement of anticipation, the thrill of the unknown. Desire isn't built in presence, it's built in absence. Yet so many women make the mistake of never allowing a man to miss them. They stay constantly available, initiate every conversation, show up before he even has a chance to feel their absence. But here's the truth. Men don't fall in love when they're with you. They fall in love when they realize what life feels like without you. Think about this. When do you miss someone the most? Is it when they're always around, always texting, always engaging, or is it when they're suddenly gone, when you notice their absence, when you start wondering what they're up to? That moment when you realize you are the one thinking about them, that's when true desire grows. And that's exactly what needs to happen for a man to crave you. But most women don't give men the space to miss them, out of fear. Fear that if they pull back, he'll forget about them, lose interest, or move on. But this fear is an illusion. If a man truly values you, your absence won't make him forget. It will make him realize just how much he wants you. Let's break this down with a real-life example. Imagine you've been seeing a man for a few weeks, and everything is going well. You've been texting daily, spending time together, forming a connection. But instead of giving him a moment to process his feelings, you continue to push for more closeness. You text him the moment you wake up, check in throughout the day, and make yourself available for any plans he suggests. What happens? He never gets a chance to feel your absence. He never gets to experience what life feels like when you're not around. Without that contrast, without that void, he won't develop the deep craving that makes him truly pursue you. Now imagine the alternative. Instead of constantly reaching out, you step back just a little, not in a cold or distant way, but in a way that allows him to wonder about you. You take longer to respond, focus on your own life, disappear for a little while. Maybe you go on a weekend trip with your friends, or simply take a break from your phone. Maybe you immerse yourself in something that excites you. Suddenly, he notices your absence. He starts thinking, why hasn't she texted me yet? What is she doing? Does she miss me? And in that space, in that silence, his desire for you grows. This isn't about playing games. It's about allowing space for natural attraction to build. The reality is, when you're constantly available and never give a man a chance to miss you, he never gets to experience the full depth of his emotions for you. He never gets that aching feeling of wanting you, of craving your presence, of realizing just how much you mean to him. It's the same reason why people often only realize how much they love someone after they lose them. Absence forces people to reflect, to compare, to appreciate. When you step back, a man starts replaying moments in his mind, your laugh, your scent, the way you made him feel. He starts recognizing that his life felt different when you were around. And once a man associates you with that deep longing, he will do whatever it takes to close the distance between you. But the key here is patience. Too many women panic the moment they step back, fearing that if he doesn't chase immediately, he must not care. But attraction doesn't work that way. It takes time. Just like a great melody lingers long after the music stops, your presence lingers in a man's mind when you create the right kind of absence. This is also why relationships built on healthy space tend to last longer. When two people don't smother each other, when they give each other room to breathe, the attraction stays alive. It keeps things exciting. It ensures that when they come together, it feels intentional, special, and deeply desired. Let's take a step back and ask, how does this look in your life? Have you been giving a man too much access to you? Have you been making things too easy? Have you been allowing him to experience what it's like to truly miss you? If not, now is the time to shift. Start small. The next time you feel the urge to always be the one reaching out first, pause. Let him make the move. The next time he texts, don't respond immediately. Let some time pass. Let him sit with the anticipation. If you usually see him multiple times a week, space it out. Let him earn more of your time. Let him wonder when he'll get to see you again. And most importantly, don't just create absence for his sake. Do it because your life is meant to be full, with or without him. Do it because your time is valuable. Because you deserve a relationship where a man actively chooses you, not out of habit, but out of genuine longing. This is the essence of Love Stoic thinking. When you embrace Stoicism in love, you don't chase. You don't force things. You allow space for attraction to naturally unfold, without fear, without desperation. You understand that a man who truly wants you will step up. And if he doesn't, that only means one thing. He was never meant to hold that space in your life to begin with. 6. Use social proof to your advantage. Have you ever noticed that people seem more attractive when others admire them? That feeling when you see a crowd gathered around a performer, and suddenly you're drawn in, curious and intrigued, wanting to know what makes them so special. This is the power of social proof, and it plays a crucial role in attraction. Men are wired to value what others value. When a man sees that you're admired, that you have options, that others are drawn to your energy, he perceives you as more desirable. It's not just about physical attraction, it's about status, competition, and validation. A man's subconscious whispers to him, if she's admired by others, she must be special. And just like that, his attraction to you intensifies. Now let's be clear, this isn't about making a man jealous by openly flirting with others. It's about exuding an energy of desirability, confidence, and abundance. When a man feels like he's competing for your attention, when he senses that you have a vibrant world outside of him, filled with admirers, he will work harder to win you over. But too many women do the opposite. They make a man the center of their universe, unknowingly signaling to him that they have no other options. When a man feels no sense of competition, no urgency, no fear of losing you, he stops putting in effort. He assumes you'll always be there, always available, and that's when attraction begins to fade. So how do you use social proof to make a man crave you? Start by becoming the kind of woman others admire and want to be around. Build a strong social life. Surround yourself with friends who uplift and appreciate you. When a man sees that you're not isolated or overly focused on him, but instead you're loved, admired, and in demand, he starts seeing you differently. Think about it. Which woman seems more desirable? The one who is constantly waiting for his text, rearranging her schedule for him, and making him her entire world? Or the woman who is out living her best life, engaging with interesting people, and attracting attention effortlessly? The second woman is the one he can't stop thinking about, because she's a prize that he has to work to win. One of the easiest ways to create social proof is through your presence and energy. When you walk into a room, own the space. Be engaged, be confident, be someone others gravitate toward. This isn't about faking anything, it's about truly embracing your inner magnetism. The more people enjoy your presence, the more attractive you become in the eyes of a man. Even in the digital world, social proof plays a role. If you're on social media, think about how you present yourself. Are you constantly posting about heartbreak and loneliness? Or are you showcasing a life that is full, exciting, and magnetic? A woman who seems to be thriving, having fun, and surrounded by great people automatically becomes more attractive. Men notice. They wonder. They start thinking, who is she? Why does she seem so happy? Why do I want to be a part of that world? Another way social proof works is through your dating options. When a man senses that other men are interested in you, his attraction heightens. It's not about rubbing it in his face or making him jealous. It's about subtly reinforcing the idea that you have choices, that your value is recognized by others. The moment a man realizes he's not the only one vying for your attention, his competitive nature kicks in. Suddenly, he sees you as more valuable. Suddenly, he doesn't want to lose you. But here's where most women get it wrong. They try to use jealousy as a weapon. They go out of their way to make a man feel insecure, flirting with others in an obvious way, playing mind games to make him chase. But that kind of manipulation backfires. The goal isn't to make him feel inadequate. It's to elevate your own value in a natural, authentic way. The most powerful form of social proof isn't about showing off. It's about genuinely being the kind of woman who attracts admiration effortlessly. When you cultivate a life that is rich, when you surround yourself with people who appreciate you, when you carry yourself with confidence and self-worth, you don't need to play games. Men will naturally sense your value. And here's the kicker. When you embody this, you don't just attract one man, you attract many. When a man senses that he has competition, when he realizes that others see your worth, he will work hard to claim his place in your life. So, take a moment to reflect. Are you living a life that makes you magnetic? Are you surrounded by people who uplift you? Do you exude an energy that makes a man feel like you are the woman he cannot afford to lose? If not, Now is the time to shift. If this message resonates with you, type number 1 in the comments below to let me know you're ready to step into your full power. We're diving even deeper into what makes a man fall head over heels for you. 7. Balance. Warmth and distance attraction is all about contrast, the interplay between closeness and space, warmth and distance, presence and absence. If you give a man too much warmth too soon, he gets comfortable and the excitement fades. If you're too distant, he may assume you're uninterested and pull away. The real magic lies in the balance. Think of attraction like a dance. Sometimes you step forward and sometimes you step back. If you stay too close the entire time, there's no room for movement, no rhythm, no excitement. But when you move in perfect harmony, creating moments of closeness and then retreating just enough, you build anticipation. And anticipation is what makes him crave you. Most women make one of 2 mistakes. Either they give too much and smother the man with attention, or they become too distant, afraid to show any warmth at all. But attraction isn't about extremes. It's about knowing when to lean in and when to step back. Picture this. A man has been showing interest in you. He texts often, makes plans, and enjoys your company. If you instantly return his energy in full force, always texting first, always saying yes to plans, always making yourself available, he quickly loses the excitement of pursuit. He knows you'll always be there, and suddenly he stops putting in effort. Now, let's imagine the opposite. You meet a man, but you hold back so much that you come across as cold and disinterested. He texts, but you take too long to respond. He tries to engage, but you seem distant. Eventually, he assumes you're not interested and moves on. But what happens when you find the perfect middle ground? When you give warmth in the moment, but don't overextend yourself? When you show genuine interest, but leave just enough space for him to wonder? Imagine this scenario. You're on a date with a man. You laugh, engage, and are fully present. You give him your full attention, making the moment memorable, exciting, and intoxicating. But after that, you don't immediately follow up with a text the next morning. You don't instantly start planning the next meetup. Instead, you let him sit with the memory of you. You let him reflect on how amazing he felt in your presence. And in that space, in that small moment of distance, desire grows. That's the power of balancing warmth and distance. You give him just enough to make him feel wanted, connected, and engaged, but not so much that he ever feels complacent. You make your time with him feel like a gift, not an obligation. Here's the part most women don't realize. The more he invests in you, the more he values you. If he never has to work for your attention, if you're always available, always ready, he doesn't feel the same level of appreciation. But when he has to put in effort, when he has to wonder, when he has to work for your presence, his emotional investment deepens. This doesn't mean you should be manipulative or play games. It simply means you should be aware of the natural ebb and flow of attraction. A relationship should feel exciting and dynamic, not predictable and routine. If you always respond immediately, always say yes, always initiate plans, there's no sense of mystery, no tension, no longing. But when you add just a bit of space, just a touch of unpredictability, you create the kind of attraction that lasts. This is why high-value women naturally attract men. They understand how to hold their own energy. They don't pour themselves out completely the moment they feel a connection. They remain centered, confident, and in control of their emotions. They give warmth, but they also know when to step back and let a man come to them. Think about the relationships that have kept you intrigued in the past. Were they the ones where everything was handed to you instantly, or were they the ones where there was a bit of uncertainty, a bit of anticipation, a bit of that "I can't stop thinking about this person" energy? Now, imagine embodying that energy yourself. Imagine being the woman who leaves a man wanting more every time. Imagine making your time so enjoyable, so full of warmth, that when you step away, he can't stop thinking about you. That's the art of balancing presence and absence. So if you've ever wondered why a man's interest fades after a strong start, or why he suddenly stops putting in effort, ask yourself, have you left enough space for him to chase you? Have you given him the gift of missing you? Because when you master this balance, when you learn to give just enough to keep him engaged, but hold back just enough to make him crave more, you become unforgettable. 8. Let him invest in you. There's a secret to making a man deeply attached to you, one that most women overlook. It's not about how much you give him, it's about how much he gives to you. Attraction isn't just about chemistry or compatibility, it's about investment. When a man puts in effort, when he works for you, when he contributes time, energy, and emotions into the connection, he values you more. But when you do all the work for him, when you chase, when you overgive, he doesn't feel the same level of attachment. Think about it. What do people treasure the most? The things they've had to earn, a degree that took years of studying, a body sculpted through months of discipline, a job that required persistence and skill. Effort increases value, and this principle applies to relationships too. The more a man invests in you, the more he sees you as someone worth keeping. If he's had to plan dates, put in thought, and make an effort to win your attention, he feels a sense of ownership and pride in the relationship. But if everything is handed to him on a silver platter, if he doesn't have to do anything to earn your presence, he won't feel the same emotional connection. This is why women who do too much too soon often find themselves heartbroken. They give endlessly, texts, affection, gifts, availability, without ever letting the man meet them halfway. In doing so, they rob him of the opportunity to build attachment through effort. So, how do you shift this dynamic? How do you get a man to invest in you? Stop overgiving. If you're always the one planning dates, initiating conversations, or making things easy for him, pause. Give him space to step up. Let him take the lead. If he's interested, he will make an effort. And if he doesn't, that's your answer. He was never truly invested to begin with. Receive with grace. When a man does something for you, whether it's opening a door, paying for dinner, or offering help, let him. So many women feel uncomfortable receiving, as if they need to earn a man's love by giving more. But the truth is, men feel most connected when they're contributing to your happiness. Think about it. When a man solves a problem for you, when he protects you, when he feels like he's adding value to your life, he feels needed and appreciated. This doesn't mean you should pretend to be helpless. It simply means you should allow him to give to you. Set standards. A man values what he has to rise to meet. If he sees that you have expectations, boundaries, and self-respect, he knows he has to put in effort. The moment you lower your standards, making excuses for his lack of effort, is the moment he stops seeing you as a prize. Men are wired to chase. When something is too easy, too available, too effortless, they don't appreciate it. But when they have to work a little, put in thought, and earn their place in your life, that's when they truly commit. This is why high-value women never chase a man. They attract effort. They set a tone that says, if you want to be in my life, you have to show up fully. And the right man will. Now, let's put this into action. Think about your past relationships. Were you always the one giving more than you received? Did you find yourself constantly adjusting, accommodating, and compromising while he sat back? If so, it's time to shift the dynamic, starting today. Focus on receiving. Let a man show his interest through actions, not just words. When he invests in you, whether it's effort, time, or thoughtfulness, he deepens his attachment to you. Attraction is never about chasing. It's about positioning. It's about stepping into your power, becoming the kind of woman who is so magnetic, so self-assured, so captivating, that a man naturally finds himself drawn to you, craving you, and unable to forget you. You've now learned the art of absence, the secret behind making a man desire you without ever needing to run after him. You understand that men fall in love in your absence, not your presence. That they value what they work for, not what is handed to them. That the key to being irresistible isn't about being more available, more giving, or more accommodating. It's about being a woman who commands respect, admiration, and desire simply by being herself. Let's reflect for a moment. Have you been too available, too easy, too predictable? Have you been giving so much that a man never has the chance to miss you, chase you, or crave you? If so, it's time for a shift, not through games or manipulation, but through a deep internal transformation where you recognize that you are the prize. Imagine being the kind of woman who walks into a room and instantly shifts the energy. A woman who doesn't beg for attention, but effortlessly commands it. A woman who isn't waiting by the phone, but instead is out living a life so exciting, so fulfilling, that a man feels honored just to be part of it. That is your new reality. That is the energy you are stepping into. And when you do, everything changes. Men start treating you differently. They start stepping up. They start putting in effort because they sense that you are not just another woman. They sense that you are someone rare, someone unforgettable, someone they don't want to lose. This is your moment to reclaim your power, to stop overgiving and start receiving, to stop chasing and start attracting, to let a man experience your absence so that when he finally has the privilege of your presence, it feels like a gift. Take this knowledge and apply it. Watch how men start responding to you differently. Watch how their energy shifts, how they start showing up with more effort, more desire, more appreciation. Because when you embody this mindset, when you fully step into this new way of being, you will never have to chase again.